Hey guys! Today we're going to be keeping it pretty relaxed and low-key. I've been feeling pretty exhausted. It's been a crazy week. So we're gonna be doing a Q&A. I asked on Instagram for people to send me questions of any sort. For those of you who don't enjoy this kind of content, don't worry, there will be a new Planty related video coming out on Sunday. So if this isn't your cup of tea, that's totally fine. Just hang out until Sunday and there will be a plant thing for you. Let's just get into the questions. Are you excited to be a mommy? Yes, I am. Very excited, but also very nervous. What's your best piece of advice for sustaining a relationship through all stages of life? I think it has to be to go with the flow, especially if you start dating young like Ryan and I did. Of course, I'm no like relationship expert. I've really only ever been in one relationship that ended up in me marrying the guy, so it could be different with different people, but you are bound to change if you start dating at 15 and you stay together into adulthood. So many things in life change. It causes us to change. Be honest with yourself. If you're not okay with that and how the person is evolving, then definitely don't be with them, but be open to that. Just know that that is the person you fell in love with, you know? How many kids do you want? We only want 2 kids, so. This person wants a story time about my family being in the FLDS Church. I've gotten this question quite a bit because I am from Utah, and there is a huge difference between FLDS, which is the Fundamentalist Latter-day Saint Church, and Latter-day Saint. So the Fundamentalists are the ones that are marrying multiple wives and sticking very, very closely with tradition. Although of course LDS was founded on those beliefs. It has evolved since then and become slightly more modern. I don't have any stories of FLDS because I was never raised FLDS. I know nothing about it. I don't know anybody who is FLDS. Just to clear that up. This next question kind of goes along with that last one, and it is, why are you not a practicing Mormon? I was raised LDS and I considered myself LDS until I was about 13. So one of my main issues with the LDS Church, and I guess a lot of organized religion in general, I'm not saying that if you believe in a religion, I am against you or anything, like to each their own. Organized religion just isn't for me. It all started, I didn't go to church every Sunday because I was starting to like question my beliefs, and there were times when people would leave rude notes in my locker saying they were better than me because they went to church every Sunday. Literally that happened. I had really, really close friends' parents not let them hang out with me anymore because I wasn't going to church every single Sunday. Like just stuff like that that made me start to question, how could people who are that judgmental, I guess, of a person's character because of the church? I don't know. That just really caused a lot of questions in my mind, and then it led me down a rabbit hole. And I'm not gonna get into all of that right now. I'm not here to argue. This is just my thoughts. And then also I hate the fact that there are just a lot of things within the church that I find very hypocritical. But again, we're not gonna get into that. I don't wanna offend anybody. And if you're a practicing Latter-day Saint, then good for you. I'm happy it fulfills your life, but it just isn't for me, so. That is why. Next question, how were you able to buy your house so young? It is beautiful. Thank you, first of all. I love my house. Second of all, I was very lucky. I do think it helps that Ryan and I have dated for so long because we kind of knew what to expect in the future from each other. You know what I mean? Like we both knew we would be there. So we kind of planned with each other in mind from being really young. Fortunately, Ryan was a saver when he was a teenager. He worked really, really hard and he was able to save a lot of money. So he did end up buying our first home that we actually ended up flipping, completely fixed it up and then sold it and made money on that. That was all Ryan's doing. I was not happy about it. It really, really sucked at the time, but we both were working and doing that on the side, and that honestly gave us a big chunk of cash, which he ended up rolling into another home that we lived in, which he now actually owns and we rent out. And while we were living in those 2 houses, I was saving money, and fortunately I was able to work with a large nail brand where I did get a chunk of change a couple of times. Yeah, I was able to put that as my down payment on this house. I did buy this house on my own, but of course I was able to save for so long because Ryan was paying our mortgage on the other 2 houses. So yeah, that's how, I guess. And I had really good credit because when I was in college, I did get a $100 credit card and I would just use that for buying like groceries and stuff, and I just paid it off every month. So it really built my credit. What got you into plants, and what are some plants on your wish list? I think what got me into plants is A, I was born a Taurus, which I think helps. B, growing up, I was always outside playing, catching bugs, being in the wilderness, doing nature related things, climbing trees, all that kind of stuff. And it gave me an appreciation for nature. So as I've gotten older and I'm not able to just run around outside and play all the time, I need to have a different kind of connection with nature. And I bought one succulent for inside, and then I realized how much joy and happiness it brought me. So it's just kind of gone from there. And I don't really have too many plants on my wish list right now. I do really want a Scindapsus trubii, I think is how you say it. And then I can't remember the name, but also the like black Scindapsus, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Those are my two main wish list plants right now. What is the most difficult part about doing YouTube? Definitely the inconsistency. So a lot of factors play into how much a YouTuber gets paid. I do kind of have a video somewhat about that up on my channel right now, but I will be doing a video a little bit later on about how to start a successful YouTube channel. Just some tips I have that I think have really helped me make this an actual job, as opposed to like a side hustle or hobby. But definitely the inconsistency is the hardest. A lot of factors are outside of my control, and that's really hard. Oh, there's a beautiful butterfly outside the window. It's really hard for me to cope with that sometimes. But even if you get the same amount of views, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make the same amount of money. As an example, last quarter I made almost double what I'm making this quarter, so. Thoughts on the ghost issue when it comes to babies. So since I posted my video, I haven't had any run-ins with the ghost. I'm hardly ever here alone. My sister is here quite a bit now, so I haven't had any issues. And I'm honestly not too worried about the ghost and the baby, because my baby is a male and this ghost only tends to bug the females when we're here alone. So I don't know, I'm not too worried about it, and I try not to think about it too much or play into it too much, because I don't want to start things up by my own energy, you know what I mean? I do think they feed off of energy, and I don't want to put out that kind of energy to bring it in. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. What is the easiest plant you own? And I would 100% have to say ZZ plant. Definitely ZZ, hands down. It's solo maintenance, it doesn't need a lot of light, not very many pests are super attracted to it, and it doesn't get thirsty too often, so pretty easy to keep up with. What are you most excited about and most nervous about becoming a mom? To be able to raise a good person. That's invaluable, I feel like, but then also that's the thing that scares me the most, because the way the world is, you don't know what outside factors can impact my kid. I don't know, it's just kind of scary to think about. What has been the best and worst things about being pregnant? The best? Honestly, it's all been really good. I've loved being pregnant, and I've had a super easy pregnancy, other than how tired I've been, especially in the first trimester. And then the hard thing is seeing my body change, which is a beautiful thing, and I appreciate and respect it, but then also it's hard for me to watch the change in some ways. I don't know if any of you moms will relate. As an example, before I got pregnant, I was going to the gym 5 to 6 times a week, running at least 6 miles a day and lifting weights. And now, even though I still go to the gym and I eat healthier than I even did before I got pregnant, I can barely run 3 miles. So, I mean, I'm listening to my body and doing what I can, but it's just hard to see my fitness progress decline a little bit. I know it's totally different, and I'm not like too harsh on myself about it, but it does cross my mind a lot, and that's been really hard for me. But also think it's a really amazing thing as well. I don't know. It's all kind of the best and the worst depending on how you look at it, I guess. What did you want to be when you grew up? When I was young, I wanted to be an entomologist. That's why I was always out playing in fields, catching bugs and small critters and things like that. But then I actually went to college to be an English teacher, entomologist, and then English teacher. Have you considered going vegan? What's your reasoning for being a veg head? I don't know if she meant veg head or if she meant vegetarian. If veg head is a thing, I've never heard of it before. I have considered going vegan, and before I got pregnant, I was working on becoming vegan. Where I am pregnant right now, I don't think it's the right time for me to be making drastic changes to my diet. Although I do try to be as conscious as possible. Right now though, if my body is craving something, I'm going to give it to my body because that's what it knows, and I trust my body and its instincts. Yeah, right now I'm just listening to it, but after my pregnancy, I will probably get back on track on changing my lifestyle to be more vegan. I do think it's important to reduce our animal consumption and usage in whatever ways possible. It's good for the environment, number one, first of all. There's no arguing about that fact. I also, since I gave up meat, I feel a lot better, so I can only imagine the way I would feel after giving up all animal products. Some people are able to just jump right into it and handle things in a very healthy way all at once, but me, for it to be a change that sticks, I have been one to like slowly work my way there. Yep, that's why. And I started with meat. A lot of people have asked about baby names, and yes, we do have a name picked. It was one of the very first names we thought of and talked about, and it's stuck. The name is set, it is picked, but we aren't telling anybody yet. Another question a lot of people have asked is about baby proofing my plants and if I plan to do that. And I do plan to make some changes to my plants. I'm going to be moving them up off the ground. You guys know I have a bunch of them sitting on the ground even right now, even though I've been working on it. I'm currently going through and doing more specific research on every single type of plant and its toxicity towards humans specifically. If it's super toxic and it's a large plant, I can't just move higher up on a shelf. I am going to be getting rid of it. Yeah, it's kind of been a slow process, but I will be slowly baby proofing this place. Is your hubby able to speak German? If so, will you raise your child bilingual? Yes, Ryan is fluent in German. We haven't talked about it too much, but I do think we'll start with at least the basics, go from there. So, I mean, that's kind of on Ryan, and if Ryan really wants to teach him, but I do think that that's something that I think would be very valuable to our kid. In my eyes, yes, we'll see if it happens. What was your job before YouTube? I've only ever had one job before this, other than like in college. It was working at a department store called Dillard's, which I'm sure many of you in the United States know about, and let me tell you, it really, really sucked. They have one of the highest turnover rates in America, so they don't treat their employees very well, and the Dillard's I worked at specifically even had a higher turnover average than the other Dillard's stores, so management was just psycho crazy. Yeah, I worked there for 4 years and it really, really sucked. What was your first thought when you found out you were pregnant? And congrats. Well, first of all, thank you. Second of all, my first thoughts were, oh shit. I've mentioned before that this pregnancy was not planned, so this baby is a super surprise, but we are extremely happy about it. And honestly, I don't think the timing could be more perfect. It all has just lined up and crazy things have lined up. Yes, my first thought was, oh shit. My second thought was, oh my gosh, I'm excited. If you see a plant you really want but suspect it might have pests, do you buy it or leave it? This has happened to me in the past. I found a plant, a peperomia specifically, I really, really, really wanted. There was just the one plant in the plant shop that was this variety I had been wanting, but it had scale and I ended up leaving it. I know I could have taken it home and nursed it back to health, but where I have so many plants, it is extremely stressful to deal with an infestation. So I wasn't willing to risk the rest of my plants just to have that one plant I was really wanting, you know? Like, I feel like you can always buy a healthy version of that plant somewhere, and if not now, then it'll pop up into your life in the future. So for me, I just say pass, but that's just me. I know a lot of people would buy the plant. Are you nervous about having a baby, the amount of plants you have, along with having dogs? Some days, yes, I'm very overwhelmed by the thought of it, but especially the past few weeks, I have been giving myself more of a set routine on like a schedule of when to take care of things, when it's time for my plants, when it's time to get housework done, and then when it's time to like extra bond with my dogs. So I do think that's going to help when baby comes. I mean, we'll see. I don't think it's going to be like easy by any means. I do think I'll be able to manage it. How many pairs of docks do you own? It's funny because I'm actually wearing some right now. 10 pairs of docks, and I did buy secondhand, so don't worry, I'm not like being psycho and just buying a bunch of shoes for willy-nilly. Do you plan on raising your baby vegetarian? Love your videos, you've inspired me tons. Thank you so much. It makes me really happy that you enjoy my videos because I enjoy making them, so that means a lot. Thank you. As far as raising my child vegetarian, I don't think we will raise him vegetarian. I do think we will raise him to understand the impact that eating meat or animal products in general the impact it really has. I definitely also plan for him to teach him to respect animals, that they deserve to not suffer just as much as the rest of us. So where I don't think we'll raise him vegetarian, I think that that will definitely be an important lesson to teach him. I don't think we're going to be that family that eats meat every meal of every day, of course. I never could. I don't like cooking meat. I don't like touching meat. So if Ryan and the kid want to eat meat, they're gonna have to make it themselves, which I doubt they will. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. And I may like gently guide him in that direction, but that is a choice I feel everybody has to make for themselves. But that's just my thought. Are you planning to be a stay-at-home mom? So my current job is at home. It is to post videos on YouTube. So fortunately, I will be able to be a stay-at-home mom, although I will still be devoting time pretty much daily to my YouTube channel. Kind of gives me the freedom to be able to do both, which I am super, super grateful for. This next question is very controversial. It is, are you for or against abortion? I feel like it's okay for me to say my thoughts on it. I'm not trying to push any of you to think the same way as me. Politically, I'm pro-choice. Personally, I would never get an abortion, but I do think women have the right to choose that. How do you take your coffee? I personally really like black coffee, although I'm not drinking coffee right now. That's one of the things that 4 weeks into my pregnancy, I cannot stomach the thought of it. So honestly, that's probably half the reason that I was so exhausted in the first trimester, because I was going from drinking 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day to literally 0 from one day to the next. So I had really bad headaches and I was sleeping constantly. Probably from A, there's a little fetus growing inside of me at that time. B, I was having caffeine withdrawals. Where do you like to shop? I love your fashion taste. Thank you. I really like clothes and dressing cute sometimes, what I feel is cute. Some people probably think I dress ugly, which is fine, but I do most of my shopping secondhand. Occasionally I do buy a new item here or there if I'm not able to find it secondhand, and I've been hunting for a while. So most of my shopping I do at local thrift stores, so like Deseret Industries, Savers, Goodwill, those kinds of places. Or I really, really do like ThredUp if you are more of an online shopper. ThredUp's just a little bit more expensive, I feel, for secondhand stuff, but that's just my opinion. And then I also really like Poshmark. Yeah, I enjoy secondhand shopping. I actually went thrift shopping today, which was really fun, and I found some cool clothes. Have you ever struggled with anxiety or depression, and how did you cope with it? Yes, I feel like overall I am a very anxious person, especially with social interactions. So like going places in my head, like I have to know about it for a long, long time to be able to like wrap my head around being in public and having to have conversation with people. Like I can have conversation with people, but for some reason, small talk stresses me out more than anything. I've gotten a lot better lately, but I know for a while it was really bothering Ryan how bad like that anxiety was for me. Starting to come outside of my shell. I think a lot of it is from doing YouTube, but yeah, I also did have a bout of depression. I've kind of mentioned this before. It was when Ryan and I lived in that first house we were flipping I told you about. It was just a really stressful time. I was working full time for the first time in my life. I also somewhat not forced, I don't want to say forced, but there were some factors beyond my control that pushed me to drop out of school and then also quit soccer. That really impacted me because I've played soccer my whole life. I was a student my whole life. Once I wasn't able to define myself as a student athlete, it was really hard on me, and I had to like figure out who I was as a person outside of that, which seems kind of dramatic, but unless you've played sports your whole life and you were a part of a team and like had that to kind of lean on at hard times, it's hard to really describe the feeling. But I probably got out of that depression like 1.5 years ago once I really started doing the plant thing here on YouTube, because genuinely it makes me so happy, and it really made me reevaluate things and just see how I didn't even really realize I was depressed. I just thought that's how life was until I started to feel happiness again from keeping these plants. I'm telling you, like that sounds so dramatic, but I'm serious. What happiness really felt like and what life really was supposed to feel like. That's when I realized I was depressed, and I started to make changes to get away from that. That's also when I started stopped eating meat, and I just started being overall more healthy. I gave up soda for the most part. I still drink soda here and there. I started going to the gym and doing things outside nature because I found that's what really makes me happy. What's the strangest pregnancy craving you've had so far? By far, I haven't had too many pregnancy cravings, but it has been red meat. I asked my doctor if it was because I wasn't getting enough protein or something, but he said that that what you crave isn't related to what your body needs necessarily all of the time, but the craving has been so strong, and never before in my life have I looked at a juicy steak and thought that it looked good. Before I would like gag, now it literally sounds and looks, I'm like, tears are coming to my eyes. It sounds and looks so good to me. I am going to be honest with you guys, I have eaten some meat since I got pregnant. Mostly it's just been if Ryan's eating meat next to me, I have a bite of whatever he's eating to help satisfy that craving. It has hit me so strong, more than anything else. So it's been really weird. It's been a roller coaster, and that's one of the things I forgot to mention earlier that I have struggled with the most in this pregnancy is that craving. The craving still hasn't gone away, so I don't know. Kind of sucks. Did you have any signs that you thought you were pregnant before you actually knew? Yes, so I was tired. This was all while I was in New York. I was super tired that trip when normally I would have been like hopping out of bed to go walk around the city and do stuff in the city. Literally just wanted to sleep all day. I was ravenous. I ate a 16-inch pizza by myself, literally by myself that day within an hour, and I could have eaten more. I was just so hungry all the time. And then, oh, the other thing, everything tasted like metal, which I didn't know was a pregnancy symptom before it happened, before I started like Googling what that could be. I thought that there was something wrong with me, but everything I ate tasted like metal. So like sweet things and carby things especially tasted like metal, but literally everything. It was so hard for me to drink water even because it tasted like metal. Let me know if you had that symptom as well, because it was weird and that is not something I was expecting. And then the last thing that, especially in those first few days before I actually like knew in my mind I was pregnant, was my nose just started running out of nowhere. I didn't have a cold, it was just like clear fluid. And I guess it's called pregnancy rhinitis. And your nose just runs for no reason when you get pregnant sometimes. So, and that is still an ongoing thing, although it's lessened. My nose was just like spilling. It was like Niagara Falls out of my nose, okay? So those are what made me know. When are you going to start decorating for the baby? I've already kind of started. I cleared out his room. It's where I used to do my nail stuff, my nail room. I've cleared it out. And yeah, I've been planning everything in there. I literally have everything I want picked out. I just need to like get money to buy it. I literally have like written down all the dimensions of everything. I've taped off those dimensions in the room to make sure everything would fit and fit comfortably. So yep, I guess you could say it's going. I'm working on it now. Favorite season? I really love spring. Winter makes me sad, so spring is just such a highlight every year, something I look forward to. Ooh, I don't know though, because actually I think it might be fall, because Halloween is my favorite holiday and I literally look forward to Halloween all year long. So I'm actually gonna go with fall, which is coming up. I'm excited, all the haunted houses, candy corn, all the good stuff. Looking forward to it. And then the last question, which is, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.